going to do a video on Promise Backlin's Gospel of Lies, specifically her replacement for the Golden Rule, which is treat others the way they want to be treated. So it kind of insinuates that people don't want to be treated well. That's the first mistake, is that I think everybody has a general desire for self-preservation and comfort and pleasure, and also certain boundaries that, we all kind of have in a sense, and if we don't, therein lies the tricky outlier of the question, is that it's assuming that people don't have good boundaries, so they're going to treat the other person with disrespect. More in line with that, I think do unto others as you would have them do unto you implies that people generally have one desire, which is to be comforted, fulfilled in relationship, and that desire is what defines a Christian. So when Jesus is specifically speaking of Christians, he's speaking of people who have values that are almost like a child's in a way, that they're good values. A child looks at something disgusting and doesn't call it art. A child looks at comfort and it's not going to say, I want pain. If it does, it's a very strange child. And I'd say if those values are reversed, even at that young an age, that's one of the reasons why the Bible has those verses or more. Just giving you that little clue there. But another thing is that we have to understand in the broader scope of things that people have self, their selfhood. And what friendship is two selves meeting each other and meeting each other's needs, be it comfort, emotional needs, spiritual needs, mentorship. So there needs to be a meeting of two souls, not simply I give you everything and you give me everything. That's kind of not a good way of being. I'm just going to give you everything you want and you give me everything I want. Because for something to be genuine, it has to come from yourself. I don't think Jesus denies the selfhood of a man. When he says love your neighbor as you love yourself, he's not telling you to love yourself first. He's implying that you already do love yourself and you got to love the other person as much as you do love yourself. Responding to that, there has to be a way in which we have self. The most genuine gifts are when two people share a common interest, and I find my interest that you share, and I give you a gift according to our shared interests. You understand? There's got to be mutual exchange. And that's what love your neighbor as you love yourself and do unto others as you have them do unto you. It's about mutual selves coming together, not simply putting up barriers and boundaries and separating, but rather combining. And I think that's where Promise Backlin's Gospel of Lies replacement for the Golden Rule fails, is that it's too, I'm going to give you everything without regard to myself, and I think in her one example, like she got a birthday party that she didn't want. Well, you receive the birthday party that you don't want because you love your mother. Would be or your father. That would be the correct way, is that you receive the gift knowing that it's what they want to give you. It might not be what you want in the moment, but you got to understand that you can't be self-seeking. And part of not being self-seeking is acknowledging that you have a self. You have desires, you have wants, you have needs, and recognizing that in other people that they do too. And sometimes crossing boundaries and rubbing people sore because that's what they need in the moment. If you see a homeless man who's not begging but does not want any money and he's about ready to starve to death, any care you give them is going to be good. Maybe there's a man on the road and doesn't want to be saved by the Samaritan. Maybe he wants to lay there and die. There's certain ideas in the gospel that reach beyond certain levels, and some people don't get to those levels. I was having a conversation about this the other day. There's basic needs. I need my needs met. There's ego. I need my ego. But then there is recognizing of the otherness around you. And this is like the last sense, is recognizing there is a world outside of you, and your only way you can interact with it is through your own impressions. And therefore, if you give to someone what they want, but it's not what you want to give them, there's no connection being made. There is some self in the gospel. It's not completely selfless. It's not completely, I pour myself out for the sake of this other person and expect nothing in return. There's communication. There's blending of people into a community, which I think love your neighbor as you love yourself and do unto others as you would want to have them done to you is a better rule than do unto others what they want you to do. That's a better rule, because there is more of a breaking down of boundaries, and there's more of a two souls meeting, whereas if we put up these barriers, we never actually get close to anyone.